Presently in our world, there is undoubtedly many people who need a helping hand. There are those who are suffering financially, mentally, emotionally, and or physically from the present circumstances. In other words, there is a great deal of suffering that should be alleviated. However, as much as the need arises to help others, a vital principle should not be forgotten. Take care of yourself first. You need to take care of yourself first before you help others. This principle is especially pertinent in today's climate, but is most certainly applicable in normal circumstances. The reasons for upholding this policy will be explained as well as elaborated on. Before proceeding any further though, it must be said that this is not an excuse to not help anyone, to not help those who are less fortunate, but rather, this advice is spoken from a consequentialist perspective, as well as a utilitarian one, to ensure the best outcome for as many people as possible. To begin, why is it so important to take care of oneself before helping others? Well, the primary reason is that you are the only constant in your life. Everyone else may up and disappear, but all that remains will be you. Accepting the fact that nobody is required to stay in your life will make things a whole lot easier. The probability is far greater that people will not stick around, so it is vital for you to become accustomed to your company. Before you go into a group setting, you need to be comfortable as an individual. Individuals comprise groups, and if the individuals who occupy those groups are not firm in their identities, they will run the risk of losing themselves in the groups they inhabit. Put differently, they will become dependent on the groups for satisfaction and security. But what happens when the group vanishes? What happens when it dissolves and everyone goes their separate ways? Well, the person who is fine on their own will have the least trouble because they prepared for it. They will persist effectively and move on. Meanwhile, those who are overly dependent will become despondent and confused, a state nobody likes to occupy. Okay, that may be from a social perspective, but what about a purely financial perspective and anything that pertains to it? If a person does not budget, take care of themselves, and keep their house in order, they will run the risk of becoming dependent, a liability. There are plenty of people who are dependent on financial assistance as it is, so adding yourself to that list is not ideal for anyone. It is not ideal for you, your family, your friends, and quite frankly, society as a whole. If you can help it, then do what is necessary to avoid that outcome. Once again, this is not to assert that you should not contribute financially to the less fortunate. Helping others can and should be done, but the warning of caution is still the same. Do not go bankrupting or putting yourself in financial jeopardy to render assistance. If looking at it from a financial perspective does not convince you of this advice, think about it in this manner. Imagine you have a few friends who are suffering from emotional distress. Their distress could be due to financial problems, marital problems, or something else. Regardless of the cause, they want and need your support in some capacity. You could approach this in a manner that goes above and beyond your capabilities. You may think that doing whatever it takes for all of them will solve their problems, but that is not always the result. What will likely end up happening is that you will stretch yourself too thin. Your friend's emotional distress will not be fully resolved, and an undesirable consequence of your efforts is that you are now in some distress. Maybe your finances suffer, maybe your interpersonal relationships now suffer. It is also possible that you now resent your friends for asking, as well as taking, too much from you, so there is that dimension. From a utilitarian perspective, this outcome makes everyone worse off because we have added another person to the problematic circle, you. Now you need help from an additional person, or party, because you stretch yourself too thin. Okay, I get it, you say. I need to take care of myself before I render assistance. But how do I manifest that tangibly? Well, that is where we proceed next. By taking care of yourself, you are effectively doing the greatest service to your person, your family, your friends, and others who depend on you. Everyone has burdens they are shouldering, responsibilities they must uphold. Forgoing these responsibilities spells disaster for not just yourself, but for those that depend on you as well. So how do I take care of myself first? What this indicates is that you ensure your physical, mental, and emotional health is functioning well. Are you eating enough? Are you eating properly? Are you sleeping enough? And are you getting quality sleep where you feel refreshed? Are you staying in shape or keeping your physical health in good condition? Are you working all the time without any rest? Are you maintaining positive relationships with your family, your friends, and your partner, spouse, etc.? All of these questions are important because they have implications on your well-being. It is easy to spot problems in other people because you are an outside observer. You may evidently see a problem while the person you are examining may be blind to it. This is also true of yourself. Others may witness a problem formulating before you catch it. So, to take care of yourself, it requires a significant amount of thinking and introspection. If something is wrong, then what is the problem and what can be done about it? Am I running myself into the ground? Am I not giving myself adequate rest and relaxation? As much as we like to work towards our goals and aspirations, we must realize that enjoyment of life is necessary. If that means a relaxing evening outside on the porch with a beer, then that is what it means. If it involves a good session at the gym, then so be it. Whatever that relaxation technique may be, it is fundamentally necessary for you to ensure that you are taken care of. We all have differing coping mechanisms. In spite of those differences, they are all necessary, as long as they do not negatively impact us. Now, there are certainly negative coping mechanisms like avoidance and turning to excessive alcohol or drug use, but you get the picture. To preserve your efficiency, you must remember that you are human as well. You have limits to your energy, your efforts, your time, and your finances. Take care of yourself so you do not become a liability, because if you do, it will cause considerable inconveniences for more than just yourself. To conclude, taking care of yourself does not have to be a massive burden or chore. Listen to your body and your mind. Is something stressing you out? If so, what is it and can anything be done about it? If nothing can be done, then you simply have to let it go to ensure peace of mind. Focus on what you can control, like your attitude and conduct. Something cannot affect your peace of mind if you do not enable it. Now, it will be difficult on certain occasions. You will become overwhelmed sometimes. But that is okay, as long as you recognize that truth and find a way to emerge from it. Obstacles and inconveniences are part and parcel of life, but that does not suggest that they must be so deleterious. They can be minimized, and the extent of their repercussions starts with you. Will you make a mountain out of a molehill, or will you deal with it successfully? Once again, that is up to you. Take care of yourself before you render assistance to others, and if you do that well, then you will create a monumental amount of good for plenty of people.